Now, next up is a movie that is I haven't read all of the articles on how much of a box office hit Skinamarink is. This is the only thing I've heard. A lot of people are going to hate or have hated Skinamarink. There is a faction of people who really, really love it. I don't think there is a down the middle of the road reaction to this movie. I don't even know if that is correct, what I'm saying right now. We're going to have to go to the experts because Bruce and Eric have seen this. Eric, why don't you start off? What is Skinamarink all about?
Oh boy, geez, that's
Yeah,
that's
what's it
hell of a
about, Eric? Tell us.
this is a tone poem. I guess. Let's see. I'll just read the thing. Two children to wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing, allegedly, and all the windows and doors in their home have vanished, allegedly. I think I was telling you and Bruce, like, you know how they made the Fablemans? It's loosely based on Steven Spielberg's upbringing, directed by Steven Spielberg. This seems to be a movie based on David Lynch's upbringing, directed by David Lynch. It's really kind of creepy in a very original type of way because there's almost nothing here. A lot of it is they're shooting that corner of the ceiling or that corner of the floor, or here's another shot of the floor with a bunch of Legos on it, but it's got like this high amount of grain to it. And so like sometimes you'll see someone like the back of their head, the amount of grain and how dark it is, you can almost kind of see their head morphing, even though it's not. It's just kind of a optical illusion with how they shot the movie. Speaking of grain, the sound design is maxed out because there's a lot of in the background.
Were you transfixed by this movie throughout, or was it an ordeal for you to watch? Because
I was, and this is also a movie. This is a movie that you got to give yourself into 100%, or you're going to get nothing out of it. If you're watching this casually, you're going to be like, I don't get it. Screw this movie and just leave. If you got the lights down, or if you're watching in theater, that's great. If you can't see it in theater, you watch it at home on Shudder. Get headphones on. Headphones probably even better than a good sound system because the sound in this is really as brash as it is. There's like a bunch of subtle stuff going on. Look under the bed. It's like really quiet, and that's that kind of noise over that sort of white noise. Thankfully, they have subtitles on this. But I think there's like 10 lines in the whole movie.
Is this scary, Eric, or is it more of just like you said?
It is. It's completely unsettling, but also you have to give yourself into it because if you don't, this is just going to see like if you walk in the room and you're just kind of, oh, what you guys watching? Where are they watching? I don't know. Some guy shooting, taking shots at the wall. I guess I don't know. Looks stupid. But like if you sit down and like really commit to the movie, it's pretty unsettling to watch, and it's hard to explain why unless you just watch it. The only knock I would give against it was maybe a bit too long because towards the end it's kind of like okay we can I got it, but maybe knock 10-20 minutes off of it. Other than that, this is really effective, but you got to be in for it.
Okay. Were you in for it, Bruce Berkey, on Skinamarink?
I was, but I absolutely agree with what Eric is saying, and that is this is a very, very particular flavor of movie. I mean, just like I was all mad at Life Upside Down. If we tell people like, hey, go watch this, it's the scariest movie we've seen in a year, like we will have like 90% of the people really mad at us. This is not Smile or one of those really accessible horror movies. This is much like experimental. Maya Deren and Lynch extended out, like you said, like a tone poem. I think if you are going to latch into this, once again, I absolutely agree. Headphones, you can watch it at home soon. It'll be on Shudder. If you don't want to go to the theater, that's kind of a big commitment for people to go into this experimental, weird movie that is probably going to not work for a lot of people. Watch it with headphones, give it a try in your TV when you can. The other thing I would say is people that might be tuned into this are people who like things like the creepypastas, like all those creepypastas. They like the stuff like liminal spaces, if you're aware of this, like the back rooms, like all that kind of stuff that's happening that people really enjoy, where it's not, if you talk about it, not anything is really happening, but it's tapping into this kind of nightmare logic, this just unsettling white noise and just like he said, background sounds. Another thing to bring up, an easy way for people to see if they would access this or not, is this director, which I know we mentioned, Kyle Edward Ball, is the director. He has a YouTube channel called, I believe, Bite-Sized Nightmares. And he's basically for years and years and years has been doing this thing where he interviews lots and lots and lots of people about what scares them in their nightmares. And he tries to make visual representations of that. And he's got all these little ones on there. He's got a longer one called Heck, which is very similar to this. And this is essentially tapping into that in a longer form. So
if you like that channel, you're gonna enjoy.
If you like that channel, just think of this going to be a longer, a little more, a slightly more polished version of this. And I will say, whether you hate this or love it, and a lot of people will hate it, or at least just be bored stiff. The one really positive thing I would say about this is a movie that was made for $15,000. You know, this is less than a used car for most people. So a $15,000 movie has made over $1 million in the theater as the time we speak of this. So that alone is some promise that someone can do this. And not to mention, this got leaked illegally after it was shown at a film festival, I don't know, Fantasia or one of those. And it got buzz out of that and then still got a theater release and still is making that much money. So that's just, if nothing else, it's good to see that that can happen still in the cinematic landscape. So that alone, I think, is worth kudos, even if you hate this.
Okay,
that is what that $15,000 went to. They didn't have that many Legos in the movie, did they?
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, so for Skinamarink, Eric Holmes, your rating.
Oh God, I mean, I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, this is impossible.
Why don't you think
this probably has to be 3-star banger? But I don't know, like, because like if you're in for it, you're gonna love it. If you're not, you're gonna hate it. So I guess that's kind of what it's got to be.
Okay, a 3-star banger. What about you, Bruce?
Well, I had written 4 to 5, but that I was like, no way, I can't do that. People are going to think this is something that it is not. So I'm exactly with Eric, 3-star banger, because just like we did back when he was talking about Landlocked, if you are into this wavelength, you're into this, but a lot of people aren't going to be. So 3-star banger.
Okay. Wow, 3-star banger for Skinamarink. As of this recording, it is currently in theaters. Bruce and Eric were mentioning Shudder. It comes out, streams exclusively on Shudder starting February 2nd. So you can tell us, again, use your headphones. Eventually, hopefully get to Skinamarink and check it out.
This is CinemAddicts.